Cave Creatures, what up? Derek here, Conrad, resident cavehead. Me and Conrad, his whole family really go back to grade school. Used to skateboard with your brother Brandon all the time.
Yeah,
Back in
not so
the
much with me.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I was the rollerblader. Represent.
I was trying to think of a memory of skating together. I felt like you did you used to skate at all, or were most of
Yeah,
those memories just with
no,
Brandon?
no. A lot of those memories of actively skating would have been with Brandon, but I was always in the same cul-de-sac at the same time, like watching you guys skate, because the crews that we hung around with had like a serious generation gap.
Right.
So I was always hanging out with the generation about to come up, where you guys were already like being punks in Fredericksburg, and my generation were like chilling in the same spot at the same time, watching you guys being like, yeah, one day I'm gonna do a kickflip off of that ramp and shit's gonna be tight. Although we probably said shit would be like cool beans or some dumb shit that kids say. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
Yeah.
we go back. We go back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were always in the same circles, so there was always those different generational gaps. Even Brandon was really hanging out with guys that were a little bit older than me,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we all kind of bonded over skateboarding to some degree until a social setting where they push us aside. We don't fucking hang out with you punks anymore.
Yeah. Fuck you, losers.
Yeah. Anyways,
Then once you hit a certain age, it's like it kind of blends in together. You know what I mean? Like
that's true. That was all kind of
it,
like grade school, high school kind of
exactly
pecking order
normal shit.
bullshit.
Yeah, normal pecking order shit. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, anyways, we were always hanging out in the same circle of friends and everything, but it really wasn't until 2011, 12, 13 when we were working on Mystery Adventure Crew that we really started hanging out more frequently and started developing video projects and film work together. I think, from my recollection, you probably remember this a little bit better than I do. Joe was kind of the orchestrator, the creative mind behind Mystery Adventure Crew. I was actually kind of a reluctant participant at first.
For sure.
He had recruited your brother Aaron to play the Doctor. Just talk for a minute how you got into the fold of the Mystery Adventure Crew.
Yeah. So, speaking about our past, it's not like a far leap to say that, we all knew each other, so there was a comfort there. So Aaron wasn't hesitant to say, "Hey, Conrad does music, and maybe we could get him in to write the opening theme song."
My name's Dave, and all my life I've been fucked around by demons. So now I fight back with the help of my personal doctor and our equipment tech Bob. Putting a stop to paranormal fuckery is our job. If you got a supernatural problem, then you're gonna end up talking to the Mystery Adventure Crew.
So Aaron brought me in, and at that time I was just out of a pretty serious band, and doing a lot of electronic music, and was putting it out, and so I had a ton of gear to facilitate what Cave House needed. I wasn't a cave head, as we call ourselves at the time, but Aaron got me in to write the theme song. And then you and or Joe asked about field recording. You had to do a lot of stuff where you're capturing wood sounds, you're capturing the sound of, a lot of that took place in forests or farms or really tight interiors. And you guys are dope behind the camera, but not at that time behind the microphone. And so I was also asked to come on set, and through the production company that that my previous band had always used, Stairway East and Stairway West, I'd picked up a lot of tips from them, and so I recommended the Zoom R16, and at the time was space age. Like you could do everything you wanted to do, multiple inputs, multiple. Yeah, it was great. And so I said, hey, you guys just buy this. I'll teach you how to run it. It's dead easy, and it ended up being that. Well, why don't you just come on set every day for a week and be an audio dick? And if you watch the old Mystery Adventure Cruise, Joe and the Doc and Dave reference camera dick and audio dick. So I just ended up being an audio dick, which is great. But since I already knew, what levels I was recording at, making sure you guys weren't clipping. And then from a logistics standpoint, I already had a system for file structure and organization in place. At the end of every day, when we dump the audio, we dump the footage, we'd clear the cards. It only also made sense that I started doing post-production work as well. So what ended up just being a theme song for the Mystery Adventure Crew, which is awesome. Go to YouTube and check out the Mystery Adventure Crew, because it's very, very cool. What ended up just being the theme song for that turned into running on-set audio, field recording, and things like that into post-production as well. So, yeah, it was like a slog through 3 months of living nothing but Mystery Adventure Crew, when really my original job was done in like 3 days.
Right. And that's really the nature of these types of projects, of relying on friends, people wearing multiple hats, and everybody coming together for common cause, and really formed a really tight bond between everybody. We were all friends, but
Yeah.
Probably we've all moved and lived in different areas of the state throughout the years since then, and that was really the time that we probably hung out the most. It was probably about 6 weeks there that we were hanging out together every weekend.
Yeah, for 48 hours. And we'd all crash over at Joe's house and, dump audio, look at dailies right then and there, make small edits and try some stuff out. And, we need to reshoot that tomorrow. Okay, so we have to go back to this location and reshoot that because we didn't, whatever. But yeah, it was probably what I would imagine the purest version of indie filmmaking would be. It's a group of guys or girls, because we had some big ups to the women on Mystery Adventure Crew, and it was a bunch of us just getting together and living this project for 24/7. And to speak on like multiple hats you wear, you kind of can't get away from that. If there's someone on the crew who can do something, I know primarily my job is audio, but if I can do a bit of design or the Green Cave House Studios intro that is in front of Sucky by Scry,
Right.
I did that because we needed it, and the legit graphics guys were busy doing something else entirely. So yeah, you wear multiple hats, and we all got in on it too. I think I was a ghost pirate.
That's right.
In that,
Even had a small blip on camera. Yep.
damn right, I'm topless. Relax. So yeah, so
Yes.
Mac was the first thing. And I think everyone learned a lot on that, especially in post production. But then there were a ton of small projects in between there, in between Mystery Adventure Crew and Sucky by Scry. There's a lot of like conceptual stuff and everyone just getting to flex different muscles. But it wasn't until Sucky by Scry, I think, where everything kind of came back together and felt like that old school feeling again. And that was what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago now?
2019. Yeah. The
Yeah.
springtime of 2019 when we really started putting things together.
Yeah.
And yeah, during that time, spoke a little bit about this in the last video with Joe. The Mystery Adventure Crew was kind of the end of an era with Cave House because our technology that we were working with had kind of reached its end of its life.
Sure.
The Sony Z1Us that we were shooting with, weren't really adequate anymore. Everybody's moving up to 4K. So we had to reinvest, and there was a little bit of a break there. You guys did the Cave House Gamers stuff for a while, which you created all the assets that we're using here. Actually, only a fraction of the assets. Where y'all were running basically a live broadcast almost nightly, right?
Yeah,
So,
pretty much every night. Yeah, for like 4 or 5 hours every night we would do it. And again, that was just to flex the muscle. That was just to, all of us have such varied interests, but we all have something that we're super good at. And although mine is audio, and I'm not saying I'm super good at it, I'm just saying that's where my primary skill lies. It's still fun to just really put all of your focus in on one thing and say, like, this is what we're going to do every night. I'm going to live this thing. And it's such a good release and such a good escape. And the end product was awesome. We ended up making a ton of videos, and I don't just mean streams. I mean like video assets for the stream, where we would put small productions together, and 9 times out of 10 it wasn't live production. It was completely animated or totally asset driven productions. A lot of dialogue replacement stuff, so a lot of ADR went into that type of stuff. A lot of sample assets that were created, and honestly, without that stream, I know I wouldn't have been ready for something on the level of Succubi Scry. Getting that much stuff together in order, and I am talking about the audio now, having everything organized by date, by time, who said what was the line, having just a really meticulous file tree. It just wouldn't have worked. I'm thinking about probably the most audio intensive portion of Succubi, which is the sequence of the portal opening, and she steps through the portal and she looks up at our sap, one of our main characters, and her eyes are different. You can tell she's a succubi now, and oh fuck, he's about to get fucked over, and then she plunges in and rips his heart out, and he drops to the floor. On screen, we're talking about 10 seconds, right? But my audio layers, I must have had upwards of 50, maybe even 60 different layers of audio just in that one sequence, because of everything that's happening and everything that's layered, and the on-set sounds having to blend in, and things like that. Without running that stream, as crazy as it sounds, because people discount streams, but without running that, and without having all that organization in there and layering and layering and layering like we did, something like that just wouldn't have been possible. We all upgraded our gear to be able to do this, so we just wouldn't have had the prerequisite equipment to do that.
Right. I don't know if you noticed while you were talking, did the lights flicker over here? Because there's supposed to be a thunderstorm or something, so
yeah,
I wasn't sure if I was just about to black out or if that was actually something that I was noticing. Is there a demon behind me, or?
No, we'll add that in post, dude. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, so that really that's really what I was gonna get at with Succubi Scry and the level of intensity you brought to your audio game. And I still don't even completely understand everything that you put together, because every time you talk about it, I learn a little bit more about the process you were going through.
Yeah. So that Succubi and has some challenges that this upcoming project is also going to have. But Derek, like you and I were talking about, it's challenges and opportunities. So with Succubi, the two biggest challenges were the physical height difference between our two main characters, right? And we had a lot of two shots where Jessica is down here, and the main actor, remind me of his name, please.
Connor.
Hunter.
No, Connor.
Connor.
Yeah.
That's right, Connor. Was like, he's like 6'8", and she's like 4'2". And so when you have a shot of the two of them from the knees to about a foot above Connor's head, you know, your real options for that start getting limited in terms of miking a scene like that, right? So we had a shotgun boom, but obviously Connor's closer to it, so his dialogue's coming hotter than hers is. So leveling that whole mix out, and we did some ADR with Jessica. We did some dialogue replacement in there just to try to level it out a little bit, to have some separation between the two of them. So that's a challenge. The other biggest challenge in there that, you know, we're gonna bump up against is, what do these things sound like? You know, you have to speak with, you know, the director, so you, the graphics guys, Joe and Justin, in the case of Succubi Scry, and say, you know, what do you picture? We'll just kind of mock a conversation. What do you imagine a portal to the Shadow Realm sound like when it's being opened? What does the scrying portal sound like when it opens up? And what's happening? You know, we talked about the didgeridoo, and so I recorded some didge for it. We talked about the fan constantly going, and we wanted that to be a presence in the room. So there's that. And you know, the difficulty is when you're talking to someone who knows what their vision is, but not how to achieve it. You come up against a wall of the sky's the limit, right? We're talking about sounds that are just made up out of thin air. So what does a demon sound like when it's speaking, when it's ripping someone's heart out, and when it's coming through a portal? So visualizing all of that and getting with the graphics team and saying, here's the sound, does it match up to what you're rendering? And finding that balance, that's tough. You know, you always want to show, don't tell, but in audio, you have to evoke a lot of emotion and suspense and all of that weird ominous horror that can happen, that tells the viewer something is about to happen or something just happened. And that audio cue is in Succubi Scry. She steps through the portal. When she looks up and you see her eyes, there's a sine wave. There's a sub bass hit when she does that, and it's a
Right.
And those little audio cues to the viewer put a big impact on what they're seeing. And the only other way you can do that is by having a guy pop up, you know, like Don't Be a Menace message. You know, it's like you can't do that. So you got to find a way to let them know some shit just happened, or to add weight to what they just saw. So
yeah, absolutely. That's always been, you know, a challenge in communication, of how to get on the same page there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we definitely learned some lessons working through Succubi. You know, with the Mystery Adventure Crew, there wasn't as much scoring. It was a mockumentary. So, you know,
right.
Almost what you see is kind of what you get with it. Whereas, you know, it's a totally different style of storytelling with Succubi Scry.
100%.
there's a lot of new processes and workflows and things that went into the succubi process that hopefully all those lessons learned carry forward into this next project with Bailout.
Yeah, and I'll also say that the time between Mystery Adventure Crew and Succubi,
True.
Everyone's talent grew in that time, because even though we didn't do things as Cave House Studios, as that Mystery Adventure Crew, no one was stagnant. No one was still water. Everyone was still doing things and upping their game and kind of evolving their own game. So if you listen to just the audio from, take Fuck Bigfoot, if you watch all of that and you listen to the interior dialogue, we were using labs and shotguns to capture. We didn't do that this time, obviously, because that's a big fucking nightmare to deal with. But the audio quality between the two not only speaks to the advancement in technology between those two time periods, but also the skill of the different operators between an upgrade of equipment and an upgrade of knowledge between the two.
Yeah, definitely. And here's to Bailout and making something a little more advanced than we did last time, and stepping our game up and bringing some more people on board and expanding the production a little bit.
Yeah, and if you're out there watching this and you have any ideas on what the fuck Bale is supposed to sound like, I'd appreciate a hint. I'm still trying to fucking figure it out.
Yeah, well, he may not have many speaking lines anyways, maybe just some snorts and stuff, so it's still to be determined what that's going to actually materialize to be on screen. So
yeah,
I haven't forgot about the lessons learned. I'm thinking about you, Conrad.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
All right, well, thanks for stopping by and chatting with us for a minute.
Happy to do it, dude. Nowhere else I'd rather be, man.
All right, man. Cheers. Peace.
Peace.